Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Hi, Rob.
Hello, Sandra.
I have a question that a lot of people have asked me lately, and yesterday I had the same question. Meat. Is it safe to eat daily?
Really? People ask you that?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. There must be some new...
The carnivore diet, maybe, the trend.
Oh, yeah. Because I don't know. I think meat's kind of one of those things you sort of assume that you eat daily.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. I guess just because everyone not everyone, but a lot of people grew up with like meat and potatoes, and meat being like the central part of their plate for years and years. So, but I suppose there's some questions around the health of it, and then, the carnivore trend, carnivore diet.
And then there's the book, The Meat Paradox by Rob Percival, Eating, Empathy, and the Future of Meat, and looking at the ethical considerations and how, this person was staring at into the eye of the cow as she was put to her death, and it's kind of like murder, right? And then also the climate change and the planetary emergency coming with changing temperature of, and then you got the industrial farming and all the methane from the cows. And so there's lots of aspects to this, but let's stick to the nutrition part.
Okay. Yeah.
We've done a few episodes in the past.
Yeah, we've done some episodes. I
mean, about like similar issues, but people can refer back and we'll put them in the show notes. Like Nutrition Nuggets 111 kind of recently was all about processed meats. And we'll touch on that in a minute. And then episode 128, the carnivore diet conversation.
We did that? I don't remember that one. Wow, we've done so many. I'm starting to lose track.
We did another one early on, episode 30, summer barbecue season.
I remember that.
There's more than just burgers for the barbecue. And episode 56 was iron-rich foods to prevent deficiency. So that's another aspect that we'll cover. And episode 61, gout, the disease of kings and king of arthritis.
Yes, there's a few.
There's a few to check into. But in general, is meat safe to eat daily? Well, it depends on the type of meat, the amount you're having, and the method of cooking.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the definition of meat? Like, are we talking fish, chicken, beef, pork, everything? Or just red meat? Or
beef, lamb, duck, and pork.
Duck?
Yeah.
How did duck make like the top 4?
It's just, that's what we're talking about.
Funny.
We're not actually talking about
chicken
duck.
didn't make the list, but duck did. Okay. Interesting.
Did you know there's a consolidation of 4 global companies that produce 85% of the beef that we eat, 71% of the pork, and 50% of the chicken?
And I bet they're all in Texas.
No, there's some in Brazil.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
But yeah, it's like Tyson Foods, and GBS is the Brazil company, and Cargill. It's all in the Meat Paradox, that book. It's very interesting. And National Beef Packing Company. And then under those companies, there's 60 different brands. And some of the brand names are very like wholesome sounding, like Farm Fresh.
Farm Fresh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of political aspects to this, but if we're talking mostly about health, there's guidelines that about 26 ounces a week, and that's considering meat, poultry, and eggs. So
26 what?
26 ounces a week.
Oh, okay.
Which is about 3 ounces a day.
That's like some people will get like a 12-ounce steak.
Well, yeah,
or
exactly.
8 ounce or whatever it is.
So
Wow.
so considering that, it would be you wouldn't have steak and eggs on the same day kind of thing.
Right.
Or steak and chicken.
Unless you're on the carnivore diet, and then you'd have that 3 times a day.
Well, there's an interesting, we'll get into the, specifics of the issue with having meat as the main part of your plate. Because we just did the blue zones a couple days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was some of the take-home message about our plate ratio?
Eat more beans.
Yeah.
And veggies.
And the meat would be?
It'd be like your little accent on the side.
Exactly, not the star player.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's an issue if you're eating meat as the biggest part of the plate day after day, meal after meal for years. This actually affects your risk of
all sorts of things.
Yeah, because of the saturated fat.
Mm-hmm. Cardiovascular and your GI cancers. And
exactly. Diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity. There's a gene, ApoA2. It directs the body to produce a specific protein called apolipoprotein, A2, which plays an important role in the body's ability to utilize different kinds of fat. And there are different variations in this ApoA2 gene present in the human population. And so the different versions of that gene interact with saturated fat in unique ways to influence energy balance and ultimately the risk of obesity. So the people that have the variant of this gene are at a higher risk of developing obesity when consuming a diet high in saturated fats than those possessing the other gene, the TT or TC variant of the gene. So the thing with consuming a lot of meat is then you end up getting, especially if it's fatty meats, so the lamb, the pork, the beef, or if they're processed meats like the bacon, salami, hot dogs, burgers, those tend to have higher amounts of fat. It's the saturated fat, right? The fat that's solid at room temperature.
Right.
So if you're eating a lot of that, then you might not be getting enough of the veggies and the beans, the nuts and seeds.
All the things you should be getting.
More of,
yeah.
We know that 95% of the North American population do not get enough fiber, right?
Mm-hmm. Fiber doesn't come from meat.
No, you don't get any fiber in meat.
You only get your veggies.
Fiber from plant foods, that's right. And did you know that stool size matters?
Oh, well then.
This is taken from the book How Not to Die by Michael Greger, MD. And I just want to read something because it's so relevant, especially if people are on carnivore diets or they're eating a lot of meat and not enough plants. The bigger and more frequent your bowel movements are, the healthier you may be. Based on a study of 23 populations across a dozen countries, the incidence of colon cancer appears to skyrocket as the average daily stool weight drops below about half a pound. Population dropping quarter pounders appear to have 3 times the rate of colon cancer. You can measure the weight of your stool with a simple bathroom scale. No, not that way. You're not going to get messy, but you can weigh yourself before and after you go. The link between stool size and colon cancer may be related to intestinal transit time. This is the stuff I talked about a lot with my group when I used to work at the cancer agency, and I helped people who were having radiation to prostate, and then they have issues with digestion and constipation and diarrhea. So we talk a lot about fiber, and it's so interesting that intestinal transit time, it's the number of hours it takes for food to travel from your mouth to the toilet. The larger the stool, the quicker the transit time, as it's easier for your intestines to move things along. So people don't realize you can have daily bowel movements and still actually be constipated. And what you're flushing today, you may have eaten last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how long it takes food to get from one end to the other can depend on gender and dietary habits. Food goes through men eating plant-based diets in just a day or two, but the transit time takes as long as 5 or more days among those eating more conventional meat-based diets.
Really? And does it come out in the order that it goes in?
No.
Things don't. Oh, it doesn't?
Not necessarily.
Oh, really?
So I'm just going to continue here.
Oh, sorry.
Women eating plant-based diets also average a day or two, but the average intestinal transit time in most women eating conventional diets may be 4 days. So for women, it's a little bit less time than men. So you can be regular, but 4 days late.
I didn't think women pooped, though.
You can measure your own oral anal transit time by eating some beets and noting when your stools turn pink.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are going to be doing that.
Well, we've talked about that before on the show about how if you do have beets, because...
Well, that's what I was going to say. Beets, I mean, they're like the next morning. Like they're right through you quick.
For you, that's great.
Okay.
Wonderful to hear.
Yeah,
and it's kind of scary sometimes because you're like, what's going on? But it's just beets. It's just their natural...
Well, if it took 4 days, then you'd forget that you ate them, and then you'd be like, yeah, it'd be a bit of a panic.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it takes less than 24 or to 36 hours, you're probably meeting the healthy half-pound target.
Half pound, is that the goal? The goal weight?
Well...
I don't know if your bathroom scale is going to pick that up. You have pretty good eyes.
Yeah. And well, we've talked about constipation and how it's the most common digestive problem in North America. And do you think there's a link between not enough fiber? Like 95% of the population does not eat enough fiber. And then constipation's like the biggest problem, right?
Right. And not drinking enough water too, probably, as part of that.
Yeah, that could be definitely a factor. Absolutely. So when people say, can I eat meat every day? I say variety is the spice of life. And if you're eating meat every day, what aren't you eating?
Right. True. Sorry, I just had to process that. Because we need to eat less meat and more veggies. So if you're eating lots of meat, then it means you're not eating your veggies.
Or if you've got your plate ratio.
Right.
And on the protein part of the plate, definitely you can have beans, you can have edamame, you can have tofu, you could have fish.
So you can eat meat every day, just not huge quantities, as long as you're eating small amounts.
You can do whatever you want. But I'm just saying it's not a great idea if you want to be healthy.
Okay.
In the long term. Now, caveat, if someone has iron deficiency anemia, if they've been vegan or vegetarian, they might have low iron. They might be low in B12, like not getting enough food sources of B12. And meat does give those important nutrients. So it's ironic that in our society, it's men who are more meat eaters, kind of in general, compared to women. A lot of women are vegetarians. Or, like the distribution of vegetarians are more female than men.
Right.
And men and women actually need the foods that have more iron and B12 and zinc compared to men, because men don't lose blood every month. And so they don't actually need the extra iron as much as women do.
I think it's there's a societal reason from way back, I bet, that sort of influences both of those, women being vegan and vegetarian and men wanting to eat a lot of meat. I'll do a study on it someday and get back to you with results, but I'm guessing there's some sort of social reasons.
Well, it's so interesting because in some cultures, the Meat Paradox book talked about some cultures, Aboriginal cultures, that are still practicing the way they've been practicing for generations. And there's a cultural tradition that when they are going to eat meat, because it's such a moral and ethical aspect of killing an animal for your nutrition, they actually have to replace, one person has to die from the village to replace the animal that is going to be sacrificed for the village to eat.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's someone who's already on death's door. I'm not sure the specifics.
Draw straws.
Yeah, but it just shows that it's very sacred, there's a spiritual element to this. And in our society, in the North American culture, we're just eating so much meat. And nutritionally, it's not great for us. Ethically, we don't think about it. Like a lot of people just don't think about it. They don't think that that's an animal, or
they don't make the connection.
They don't make the connection. Yeah.
That burger came from something had to die in order for you to eat your hamburger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was also an aspect of like the perception of chickens versus a bigger animal like a cow, because the chickens move differently. They just are not as, they're not like mammals like the cow is. So the cows are more closely related to humans. So there's more of a connection there versus chickens, which they're just a lot different in terms of animals. And so you don't feel as guilty, I guess.
And then there's ducks.
That's right.
Rabbits. We're going to have to do a whole thing on ducks. I'm curious about that now.
And rabbits, there's 4 drumsticks.
Oh, there you go.
So very interesting. I know it's just a nutrition nuggets, but okay, let's just quickly round up so we talked about the type of meat, right? So we're talking about like more lean cuts that are maybe locally raised if possible, more sustainably raised, right? Mm-hmm. And then you think about the amount. So maybe not daily, because if it's daily, then you're probably not eating other things. You're not having those meatless Mondays or, having fish and different items instead of the meat.
Right.
Okay. And then there's the method of cooking also, because we've talked about that with our episode 30, the summer barbecue season and grilling. Right. So the high heat can create the heterocyclamines.
Carcinogen.
Yeah, exactly. So it's better to have the baked or stewed and not deep fried or highly processed. And looking at lean cuts versus the really fatty cuts. And again, if you're making a sausage or bacon, you see like that solid fat in the pan, you know that is not great for your arteries. That can affect your triglycerides, your LDL. It can affect your risk of cardiovascular disease, just how, well that your blood moves through your body and your heart. And it also can really increase your risk of colorectal cancer. And the big thing too is if you're eating meat every day, you're probably not getting the variety of other nutrition, right?
I think that's the biggest point.
That's the biggest point. And the amount. So the size of the palm of your hand. If you are going to have a piece of meat,
to start
a few times a week.
Thinking about your plate ratio like we always talk about. More veggies with a little bit of protein on the side. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that's a kind of a long-winded answer to a question that's not easy to quickly answer.
There you go. All right, if you want more great tips, check out our website. It's mywifethedietitian.com. We've got a great blog on there. We have a weekly newsletter that's free to join. You can find all that at mywifethedietitian.com. If you have questions, you can send us an email to mywifethed@gmail.com. You can also find us online at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to reach out to us there as well. And if you like the show, let us know. We love hearing your feedback. Any comments or ideas or anything you have like that, let us know. You can rate and review the show too. That's another great way to let us know how we're doing. And share with your friends. If you like the show, I'm sure they will too, so let them know. And that is it for this week. We will be back on Monday with another full episode. So until then, have a fantastic week. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.